and Trump is spritzing his cologne on him while the guy is trying to like dodge it. I literally cannot. Like we're literally accosting people with Trump's. What is his cologne cost? Is it $500? And the guy's like, no, thank you. And Trump's like spraying it on him. I can't even. It's like I used to find this stuff funny, and now I'm just like, someone needs to go. MAGA, go get your creepy grandpa who keeps putting on makeup every morning, and you need to get him under. You need to gather him up. Like, someone needs to get to gathering that man up. Oh, and here's my update on. We all know Fetterman needs to go on and get. Like, I've had it with Fetterman. Hold on, let me read this one because I have two of my Fetterman needs to get out. Oh yeah. So do you guys remember when Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe and Mika, they went to like Mar-a-Lago and we're just, hanging out with Trump. And then they're like, why is everyone mad? We're hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. If you can't figure that out, weird Nepo baby, then we can't explain it to you any longer. If you don't get it, whatever. So, of course, when John Fetterman literally this morning, wants to cry, John Fetterman is a victim of us, apparently. We are not treating him so nicely because he continues to not be able to read, folds like a lawn chair at every turn, and is confused about where his loyalty lies. So here's John Fetterman this morning crying to Joe Scarborough and saying, you know what it's like to be canceled for getting on your knees for Trump. Now they're doing it to me too. Literally, I was like, is this a real life? Send John Fetterman some knee pads. That's what he needs. Why can't I hear this? Oh no, I will hear this. This is so. Oh God! Sorry.
Very
sorry. I fixed it.
But is though for you though? Don't you find the Senate? Don't you find political life in Washington D.C. to be very isolating? Haven't you talked about it's just a real challenge day in and day out, isn't it, to do the people's business there?
No. I mean, it's like an honor. It's an honor to be Pennsylvania's voice in the Senate.
Right.
I'm just trying to find a way forward in that. And I know both of you have been punished to have a conversations, ongoing dialogue with President Trump. I got hit just to have dinner with him after he invited me to have that conversation. Pennsylvania keeps people honest. It's like, in the most purple state in the country, it's like there's both sides. And I've always refused to call the other people, they're fascists or Nazis and those kinds of things. Trying to find a way forward is challenging, but that's the reality. And it's absolutely an honor to represent Pennsylvania Senate.
But is though, for you though, don't you find the Senate, don't you find political life in Washington, D.C. to be very isolating?
It's okay. White men who've had every privilege in life. Are you guys going to make it? Powerful, very rich. And if you don't know, I'm saying Joe Scarborough is a very clear Nepo baby. You can look up who his parents are. Are you guys going to make it? White males who've had every advantage in society and still are crying like you're a victim of something. Hey, John Fetterman, it's not that hard for me to not get on my knees for Trump. I find it very simple. Like, I don't know, like, what are you talking about? You, in every moment. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Now I remember what I need to show you guys. Let me just show you guys the other one, because it's even worse. Both these clips happened yesterday. This is why I cannot stand John Fetterman. Let me find the second media appearance he did where he was crying like a baby because him being a creepy weirdo is not being received well by people. Like, are you, like, are you serious? I don't even know if he's serious or kidding. Like, I want him to just be like, just kidding. I know why everyone hates me. Anytime I'm supposed to like hold a line or stand up for something, I fold like a lawn chair and betray the people that elected me. And so now I know why everyone hates me. It's like he can't figure it out. It's terrifying to watch. And here, hold on. I might have to find this live. I'll find it in a second. It's in my regular outline. But what he's saying in the other clip is he's like, America's not gonna be a my kids aren't gonna be raised in socialism. Sir, read a book. Can you read a book so we don't have to like try to teach you that you don't know what words mean? John Fetterman is MAGA. He needs to stay over there with other people who don't know what words mean. Like you truly oh, here it is. Wait, hold on. No, wait, hold on. I'm almost there. I'm finding it. It's somewhere close. I can feel it. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through my actual outline. Where are you, Fetterman, you loser? Oh my God, I'll find it in a second when I'm playing another clip. I just don't want to waste time finding it. But his other crying fit, this is my outline. His other crying fit was about, my kids aren't going to be raised in socialism. Tell me some more. You have no idea what socialism is. Like, I know you don't know what words mean. Every time I listen to you talk, I find out more about how you don't know what words mean. Like, oh, you want to raise your kids with a guy who covers up child trafficking rings and is literally, and this is the irony about saying I'm against socialism. I never understood because, you know, my view on socialism came from like an academic setting, right? Like I just went to university and I was trained by people who aren't idiots to understand socialism. So I've always thought of that as like, okay, that's a postmodern America, post-World War II, like PR campaign to be like capitalism, good, socialism, communism, bad, and they just don't know what the words mean. But it's so ironic to me now, right? Remember when that guy last week goes unconscious in the White House and Trump won't even turn around? It was like an executive from Novo Nordisk or whatever, a pharmaceutical rep. And one of the things when I rewatched that, because I never miss Trump lying, I watch it at night so I can have nightmares about it. When I went back and watched that, what was going on is Trump was doing what he did to, who is it that gave Trump 10% of their company? Is it Intel? He was saying that they need to give him 10%. Which I guess would be Americans, but what we all know now is Trump, any money that comes into the American government, Trump is like grifting or giving to his friends. And it's insane. And now I know whatever nightmare, and I'm saying this nicely, Meg, I'm trying to help you guys find your way out of the paper bag. There's a whole side of the paper bag that is open, so you just need to turn around and walk out of the bag. You can get out of the paper bag that you've been trapped in for years. The only people, right, what I now understand, because you were preconditioned to think socialism is a fascist dictatorship or totalitarian type of government where it doesn't involve democracy. There's just this dictator who's like, I'm taking 10% of your company. I'm taking this of your company, right? That the only person I've ever seen do that since I've been tracking politics, like probably for at least 15 years, is Donald Trump. He's what you fear, the guy you're on your knees for, being like, hey, when I'm done giving him this BJ, I'm going to use both hands to give him a Andrew Jackson. Like, that man is the only one who's done anything that you fear. That's it. I've never seen that. Now, if we as American people want to create policy, like this is why I started the live this way, you know, poverty is dictated by policy. Inequality is dictated by policy, right? Trump stole 10% of a corporation. And where do you think that money's going? It's not going to equality. It's not going to SNAP benefits. It's not going to education for children. It's not going to anything other than other corrupt projects. Like, I could never get why MAGA was what they were talking about. Yeah, your nightmare is happening. You're blowing the guy who is doing it. That's it. That's the facts. Like, but again, you would have to be able to read to figure that out. And not watching pathological liars in the MAGA cottage industry of podcasters who are paid. I could be so rich if I just lied for Trump. Can you guys imagine if one day I just showed up and I'm like, I'm here to defend Donald Trump? I could have millions of dollars because I could do it. I would be I'm smarter than all those people. Like, I could be rich if I lied for Trump. So you can't listen to the people that are lying for Trump. You may have to use the supercomputer in your pocket to find actual information. But what you fear, what your quote unquote definition of socialism is, like people just stealing parts of businesses, Trump's doing that now. Rainey, thank you so much for the $50 for the computer. Thank you. And thank you every day for your support. You're the best. I'm so glad. I feel this is going to sound creepy, not because I think we met like a year ago, and I'm so glad we did. Thank you for being here. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, I switched presentations. I found it. Oh my God, I knew it was here. Here's John Fetterman crying about how his kids aren't going to fall victim to exactly what Trump has done in the last 3 months. Yeah, okay. It's like, can somebody come get John Fetterman? He's not okay.
Changing. And you believe that this may be, at least in part, about your party changing, and the populist movement in reaction to MAGA and the Democratic Socialists, that this may be a moment where they want to take over the Democratic Party.
I promise you, America's future and my party's future is not socialism or kinds of outlandish far left kinds of ideas. And it's been a year ago, after we lost the election, a lot of those parts and part of those ideas pushed our party over the cliff. And that's why we're in this situation right now. That's why we're firmly in the minority. And that's why we've lost control of the White House.
Firmly in the minority by one vote because Trump told brown people he was not going to round them up and put them in camps, and then now he's rounding up and putting them in camps. Do you hear, are you okay? And I just saw some people like he fell. You know what? In a weird way, I feel better now because I was like, this can't be, you can't, you have to hear that every single feeling you have can be contradicted by actual facts. Your fears that you've stated are what Trump has done, and you're redirecting that for some reason at the Democratic Party, if you could read and do math.
So some people, if you think that's a solution, that's fine, but it's going to be a competition of ideas, and we know that's not going to prevail. What's going to prevail is common sense. What's going to prevail, choosing this country over, part of the extreme in our party. What's going to prevail is common sense, and I do believe, for me, in the kinds of chaos that we have in this Trump administration, we should respond with order and logic and patriotism, and not shutting down our government right now. And that's where I'm at. And I don't know why that's controversial. That's not a big tent party. If you're not allowed to have the opinion that it's wrong to shut our government down and put these people in the middle of it and now referred to as you're a traitor, or, saying all these other.
It's not controversial, I guess, to have no idea what you're talking about and blame people that are doing the opposite of what you're accusing them. You do you, bro. but stop blaming, like, I can't. And let me just remind people, the only reason John Fetterman is a senator in Pennsylvania is because our other choice was Death Squad Dr. Oz. If you remember, Dr. Oz, who's never lived a day in his life in Pennsylvania and was trying to pretend he was from Pennsylvania. Do you remember when he was going to like professional sports games, like in Pennsylvania, with like a jersey on and trying to photograph himself there, like he had been there before? Yeah, that, if any, I just reminded people how we ended up here. It was a good choice. Now Dr. Oz is just making sure no one gets Medicaid anymore and being an awful, Dr. Death is making sure no one has access to Medicaid. But yeah, that's why John Fetterman is there, is because our other choice was the guy who does like medical trials on animals. This is a big deal. Edwin said, does Fetterman, thank you, Dolphin, I'll do it now. Does Fetterman always wear a black hoodie? This has been not just a black hoodie. You just don't see him. What do you think he's wearing underneath? It's just dirty white boxer briefs. No, I'm kidding. He wears not just a hoodie. He wears like dirty basketball shorts too, and I mean that because I have zoomed. There's like stains on them. Like people have tried to sanction him and stop him, but when they tried, that was before he became a turncoat, which is another proof of my point that when you will get on board because you may or may not be mentally unwell or going through health issues and you side with Republicans, all of a sudden they were trying to get him thrown out if he did not wear like anything besides dirty basketball shorts and a dirty black hoodie. And then when he started agreeing with them, all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's a maverick, he's an outlier, like, it's fine, I wish I was in basketball shorts. Like, let me give you another example of that, because I think people are not understanding how serious it is. Jamie Raskin, the last 2 years, has been actively fighting cancer and been doing chemo. He went completely bald. I never missed a congressional hearing. And he, at one point, he was like trying to spray paint you know what I mean? Trying to make it look like he had hair when he didn't. And he started wearing a bandana because it's just, it wasn't looking good. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and other monsters in the House tried to force him, because the rule technically is, I suppose, let's keep tapping the screen. We should be at 300K. Tap, tap, tap. The rule is that you can't wear a hat, and they were going to try to sanction him and force him to not have a bandana on when he was going through chemo. And you know how they stopped? Do you know, Jamie? Oh, I'm going to show you Jamie Raskin yesterday. Jamie Raskin and the gentleman from Massachusetts, Jim McGovern, that's where we're going after this. I'm going to show you how brilliant they are. I told you this. Jamie Raskin could sit on the Supreme Court one day. He's brilliant. But the only way that the Democrats could find to stop them from sanctioning Jamie Raskin for accidentally getting cancer and going through chemo and losing his hair and needing to have a bandana on is they pointed out, oh my God, what's his name? There's like several Republican Congress members who have toupees on, and they were like, okay, if a bandana while you're doing chemo is a hat, then so are all your toupees. So as soon as all of you take your toupees off, then Jamie Raskin will take his chemo bandana off, but all of you need to pop your toupees off. And then they let it go because they're like, yeah, I'm not going to take my toupee off. Literally, you can look this up. That is how they got them to leave him alone. But who terrorizes cancer patients? That's who these people are. And they're like, yes, okay, so hats. Anything on top of your head is a hat, so all of your toupees need to be taken off right now. And they're like, never mind, I guess I don't want to take my toupee off. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get into things outside of Epstein files, even though I have many more interesting things. I want to show you guys some people fighting for us in Congress because, well, first of all, I just want to show you guys something. So you know how idiot John Fetterman and I'm saying that not like get well soon, but you have no idea what you're talking about. And in the time you've been in Congress, you're a U.S. Senator. If you're going to be one of 50 elite people in a club, if I was him, I would make an effort to learn something or change some things or figure out what's going on. John Fetterman has not, like, literally, what you didn't know the day you were sworn in, you might know less now. It's upsetting. Oh, wait, I'm going to do this because I just want to say, I'm not stumping for Chris Murphy to end up being the Democratic president for, the 2028 Democratic candidate for president. But if he did end up being that, I don't think it would be the worst thing. I'm just saying. I just want to show you because I didn't sleep last night. I was clipping things and watching the arguments in the Rules Committee, or 2 nights ago, and I wanted to find this clip because I never saw Chris Murphy like this, where he was literally just like, I'm exhausted. And I was like, I would be too if I was you. Like, the fight is taking a toll on him. That was the first time I've ever seen him. I'm like, oh my God, he is not okay. Oh, it's here. I'm almost there. Here it is. So this is Chris Murphy's video, which I never played for you guys, after, like, we realized that the Hateful Eight senators, coached by Chuck Schumer, were going to fold like lawn chairs and get nothing. Which, by the way, we now have audio of Tom Emmer confirming that. Remember how all those 8 idiots were like, I'm doing this because all the people who were fired during the shutdown are getting their jobs back, and they promised. Tom Emmer is caught on a radio show just being like, they absolutely are never being rehired. So every single thing that has happened was for nothing.
The vote hasn't closed, but it looks like 8 Democrats have joined Republicans to vote for a temporary reopening of the government for about 2 months, but a bill with no protections to stop the coming healthcare disaster in this country caused by Donald Trump's premium increases, nor any provisions to meaningfully stop Trump's corruption and his illegality. You can see how tired I am. I've been here all weekend, have been working throughout the past few weeks to try to prevent this moment. After the elections on Tuesday, it just became absolutely clear that the American people do not want Democrats to be bullied into submission. They want Democrats to fight for their health care. They want Democrats to fight Trump's illegality. Bullies gain power when righteous people yield in the face of their wrongdoing. I didn't want this shut down. I want it to end, but not at any cost. And of course, I wish that there was a path to saving this democracy and saving people's health care that didn't involve pain. This shutdown hurt. It did. But unfortunately, I don't think there is a way to save this country, to save our democracy, without there being some difficult, hard moments along the way. The people came out on Tuesday in huge numbers, and yes, it was a referendum on Trump, but it was also a referendum on us. And I think there's going to be a lot of very angry people out there in this country. I know there will be a lot of angry people out there in this country, having watched just a handful of Democrats join with Republicans. And we still have fights ahead where we've got to be able to unite as Democrats. This won't be the only consequential moment between now and next November. But there's no way to defend this. And you are right to be angry about it. I'm angry about it. And I'm just going to get up tomorrow and go to work to try to convince all of my colleagues that this is a unique moment and the necessity to stand and fight, even when it's hard, even when it involves pain, is necessary, more necessary today than at any point during any of our political careers.
never, and I don't want you to think I'm stalking Chris Murphy, but I do know from, every hour to hour where he may be, what he's eating for lunch. If we really, I mean, to me, if I could put a candidate for 2028 president, it would actually be him. I have never seen him look or talk like this. This is when I knew, like, shit is bad. And who's the other, I'm trying to remember the other person. Someone else was like, oh God, it was Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff was like the same way, and he's like, yeah, you guys are shocked. Like, we've had a couple days to process this. So, and what I took from that was meaning these idiots who folded like lawn chairs for zero, like told the rest of them on like Friday, right? And that I've never seen this man look this way or be like, yeah, I just need like a little bit of a rest. But that's good. It's okay. Who hasn't crawled into their depression cave for 2 months and then come back fighting? That's fine. I'm just saying, this is a person who has empathy. This is the face of someone who, when people are in pain, is clearly being directly affected by that. And you know what's funny? That's the bare fucking minimum. Or let's say in the past, the bare fucking minimum would be like, yeah, let's select people that have empathy and care when people are suffering and dying. Yeah, Shiv was very much lamenting the 8 senators, but he's a lawyer, so he was actually like lamenting it and being like, I've had longer to process, and then being like, here's my strategy going forward, which I still have those clips if you guys are interested, because I was like, okay. And Sheldon Whitehouse too. Sheldon Whitehouse was like, yeah, I feel immense pain. I'm exhausted, but like, let's make a plan to go forward. But I did see someone, and I just want to be clear because I know my delivery can be aggressive at times. I'm not mad. I saw someone saying Tim Kaine is the only one that his vote makes sense. And I was thinking when I saw that comment, are you saying that because he's from Virginia and the federal workers who were fired, are from that state, or the majority of them, I should say. That's probably the more accurate way to say it. The majority of those workers are from that state. Yeah, except for here. And now and I just want to say something. They know this isn't true. I mean, well, let me say something. I love Tim Kaine. It's so hard for me, because when we have these moments where I'm like, will these people ever just tell us the truth? Hey, Tim Kaine, if you're under pressure, if you're being leveraged, if you're being blackmailed, can you just tell us like what's happening and tell us like why you feel you need to do this so that we can back you and defend you? Like, that's the problem I have, is I don't know if we're ever, and I have pored over the congressional aid blogs to see if anyone's saying anything. Let me show you what I was talking about, though, with these. Tom Emmer goes on a show and just confirms, literally, like, yeah, got him. Joke's on them. We will not hire back any of these people. I'm not saying Tim Kaine is lying. I'm saying, I'm just very surprised, maybe is a better word, that he would believe. At this point, you tell me, would you believe a word anyone said, a Republican person said, whatever they promised you, whatever they said could or would happen? Would you believe it? Every single time the Democrats are like, oh, I have empathy and I want to help people and I'm going to try and do the right thing, it has never, ever, every single time, it's like, just kidding. And I'm saying this because, oh yeah, how I was talking about that man who used to do lives with Facts Don't Matter Steve and like Matt, and he was not actually a professor, as we all found out later. He was a teacher at a University of Florida, and then he turned out to be weirdo liar. It's like very similar to some of the things he would say. It's like, I don't know how you could believe somebody or a group of people who have been in cognitive dissonance and protecting a pathological malignant narcissist for years and say, this time, every single time in the past, they lied and they've never followed through on a promise. But somehow this time they're going to follow through. Yeah, thank you, Tammy. I'm drinking. I have a lot of. Can I just recommend if someone needs electrolytes? It's a lot cheaper. Don't buy Gatorade. I drink Gatorade Zero. Too much sugar and the other stuff. There's powder packets you can buy that have all the electrolytes, and they're much cheaper. So if you need electrolytes, that's what I have in my pink water bottle that Gumps bought me. Thank you, Gumps. It is it's like the powder Gatorade electrolytes, but it's literally like, I think I got like 100, what would be 120 20-ounce bottles of Gatorade for like $35, which if you understand how much they cost, what is electrolytes? It's for hydration. It's things that help you stay hydrated. There's different types of them. You can just Google. You're literally typing that on a supercomputer. But yeah, the Propel packet, yeah. And you can get them for super cheap at times, so look out for them. Don't buy any more plastic bottles full of anything. Just look for the powder that you can dump into water, because it has saved me untold amounts of money. Okay, I'm going to play another Chris Murphy clip where he looks better, but it's like, I've never seen him like that. But first, I want to show you. This is Tom Emmer. If you're like, who the is Tom Emmer? Tom Emmer is a gross human, and I mean that. Like, if you think Mikey J, that's what I call Mike Johnson in my head. When I put his name in outlines, it's always Mikey J. If you think Mike Johnson is bad, meet his number 2, Tom Emmer. He's a representative from Minnesota, and he has zero empathy. He's like a guy who regularly is like, do you really, like, why is Tim Walz like forcing us to pay for children to have lunch? Gross. Like, he's angry that children are eating a milk and a muffin at lunch. Like, that's who Tom Emmer is. So when I say, and that's the thing, because I love Tim Kaine, all I'm going to say is this. I don't think I'm obsessed with Congress. It's like collecting baseball cards. I know things about all of them. I'm so, it's like my thing. Tim Kaine is very smart, and he's been playing this game a long time. Do I think he actually believed that they weren't lying? I can't believe that. But I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm saying if they have leverage on you in some other way, if there's pressure on you, or that's one option, which it's like, just tell us what's wrong so we can help you and support you through it. Or number 2 is, if you look at the list of the people, the 8 that defected, they're none of them are up for re-election for years and years. So if they were just like, hey, these are the 6 of us who aren't up for re-election, and the 8 of us that aren't up for re-election, and you're in that group, just take one for the team and endure the hate. And they're like, you have a great line. You could be like, they promised to rehire all the federal workers. Then I literally sat up all night thinking, like, why, Tim Kaine? Why? That's the best I can come up with. Either they have leverage on him for something, but if they did, I think they would use it, or we'll see in the next election. Or that's really, if you look, none of those people, they're either retiring or they're not up for election 4 years. Thank you, G. Weber. I do appreciate, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. 'Cause sometimes I'm like, is anybody listening? Can we keep tapping the screen? If you don't have arthritis yet, you are not trying. The least you could do for me is get a chronic illness that will need to be treated by low doses of chemo. Thank you. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I hope it is that it's just like, okay, Tim Kaine's not up for re-election and nobody can attack him soon, so that's why. Because here's Tom Emmer literally just saying, yeah, all the things we said we might do, that's not happening. Oh my, wait, what? No, hold on. Nope. Okay, here it is.
That money should go directly to Americans, which is what Trump has talked about. You're going to have to create high-risk pools again. Just go back where Minnesota was before this failed Unaffordable Care Act. We literally based the healthy individuals were able to be in a pool, and you could have competition, insurance competition, that is, for different insurance products within that healthy market, right? You could do that risk assessment. Then we had a high risk pool because anybody who knows healthcare understands that a small part of the population consumes the majority of the healthcare because they need it. We had ways of addressing that by supplementing that population instead of doing what the Affordable Care Act did, which is totally upending the risk analysis by putting all of them together and saying the healthy people are going to be paying for the people that need more health care instead of dealing with the people who need more health care and allowing healthy people to actually have competition in their market.
He's describing eugenics. He's literally, and that's the thing, because people in MAGA, they can't read. They definitely didn't listen, and wait, let me correct that. Anything you're taught in high school history would not alert you to the fact that this man's talking, that was a primary belief of Mustache Man, right? He's talking about eugenics. That's what he's saying. And also, it's it depends on how they structure it, but this is what John McCain, with one of his last breaths while a tumor was growing in his brain, when they were trying to make it so pre-existing conditions could eliminate you from eligibility from the ACA, and John McCain did the thumbs down. This is why. This is eugenics, trying to separate out the sick from the strong, the people who, we need to eliminate these genes from society. Let's isolate them. Don't worry, we're going to take care of you. That's what's going on. But also it's kind of idiotic as well. Well, I mean, depending on policy, that's what happened previously, right? Prior to the ACA, Obamacare, which is idiotic, right? Insurers could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all have pre-existing conditions. At this point, I'm a walking pre-existing condition, chronic illness, whatever. They could just be like, no, thank you. You're in the high risk pool and your insurance costs exponentially more. This is literally eugenics. But the irony is, this same thing is happening anyways, right? That's how dumb and I'm not talking about people in Congress. These people have the best insurance for the rest of their lives. They never have to worry about any of this. But for people who are like, I'm not paying for those brown people to have insurance, well, get ready to pay more. And here's let me give you another impression of another MAGA whose brain doesn't work so good. I work at a private company and they pay for my private insurance, so I don't want my tax dollars going to those brown people or poor people. Yeah, well, if let me just help you. It doesn't matter what pool you're in. If we remove millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people from insurance pools, the cost will be distributed in your pool too, or bankruptcy for insurance companies happen. Your rates go up too. And the fact people don't get this, the more people we have to collectively bargain, the less we all pay. Dummies. Jesus, it's almost like, and here's what I'm talking about, where Tom Emmer literally is like, yeah, we're not ever hiring these people back. I love how Tim Kaine's like, now we're going to hire them back. I don't believe he doesn't know we're not doing that. I don't believe it.
Senator Ron Johnson had been working and has been working over the years to try to put together some sort of a bill that prevents this sort of thing from happening in the future. Were any of those provisions in this deal that came from the Senate, you can't do the mass firings anymore or something like that?
No, the only thing that's pretty standard, the only thing that is in
to be clear, Tim Kaine's like, this will stop the rifts, which is like reduction in force, right? When you hear that RIFs acronym that he kept yelling, it means reduction in force, like mass firings. There's nothing in the bill that passed yesterday to protect anyone from those. And let's say there was something in there, it would protect people from mass hirings until January 30th. So Congress is basically on Christmas break for the rest of the time. And they would have been, they never did promise to not fire anyone else. They promised nothing.
Happening in the future. Were any of those provisions in this deal that came from the Senate, like you can't do the mass firings anymore or something like that?
No, the only thing that's pretty standard, the only thing that is in it is the government employees who were furloughed are going to come back to work, and they will be paid. They will get their back pay. So, you've got
clear. That's not the mass firings that Tim Kaine was talking about. All of the people that Russ Vought fired, that's not who we're talking about. Furloughed people are people who just were not getting paid. So if you show up to work, that's nice of you, but you're not getting paid, so you don't technically have to. Which, mind you, I don't know if anyone saw the clip where creepy D-list washed-up reality star Sean Duffy said that air traffic controllers who were not getting paid and didn't show up to work are not patriots.
You've got all these different, Capitol Police, you've got staff people. They will all get their back pay to the 40 days. So that's pretty standard, Ox, and it's actually a law that was passed in 2019 that requires it. So, no, the president, I talked to him last Thursday. I had lunch with him, and we were talking about he's not going to bring back the people that they fired. They were unnecessary, otherwise they'd still be there. So they're not coming back.
Okay. So some of the Russ Vought stuff will stick.
All of the stuff that they've done is sticking.
Senator Ron,
just in case, and I just do not believe anybody could be dumb enough at this point to believe all of a sudden the mass firings they did on that Friday would ever come back. He is never bringing these people back. Yeah, well, I mean, I think you'd have to be crazy to believe at this point that Trump is bringing anyone back. And that, hold on, I know it's depressing, but I think we do need to face actual reality that nobody is bringing anyone back who they fired. I mean, they're not. I would, but they are not. These people are out of their GD minds. I want to play some, like we talked about, Jamie Raskin and Jim McGovern were absolutely fabulous yesterday. It literally, I don't know, it just makes me feel sane when I hear them yelling. Actually, Hakeem Jeffries had a good speech. Okay, yes, this is the start of Jim McGovern's rant on the House floor, and he's the ranking member of the Rules Committee, so that's he manages the time for the speeches and stuff, and that's why he is in a constant fight with Michelle Fischbach, who is so gross, and you'll see what I mean as this goes on.
What the hell is wrong with them? While regular people are struggling to pay bills, Donald Trump's net worth has gone up by $3 billion since he became president. People's health insurance premiums are doubling and tripling, but Republicans say there is no affordability crisis, even as their tariffs are costing people an extra $1,200 per year. Regular people can't afford the rent, and Republicans are letting Trump gild his bathroom and build a ballroom to host the rich and powerful elites who own the GOP. These guys are bailing out Argentina. They're giving $40 billion to an entirely different country rather than helping the 42 million Americans who can't afford to put food on the table. And here's the clincher, Mr. Speaker. Buried in this CR is a corrupt kickback for 8 Republican senators, a $1 million payday funded by taxpayers, taken straight from the Treasury and deposited directly into their pockets. What the hell is wrong with this place? They promised to put America first. The only thing you guys put first is yourselves. Yourselves and the rich and powerful people who pull your strings behind the scenes. These people don't care. They don't have to call the insurance company because their claim was denied. They don't buy their own groceries. If you have a private jet, an offshore bank account, and an invite to Mar-a-Lago, go ahead and support your Republican representative. But if you're a regular person who feels like you're getting screwed over, if you are fed up with the status quo here in Washington that only works for those at the top, this majority is not fighting for you, but we are. Democrats are on your side, and we will fight with you every step of the way against the corruption, the lies, and the BS coming out of this administration. And we won't back this so-called deal. It's not a real solution, and it is certainly not a clean CR.
Imagine saying a clean CR, because that's what they keep typing on X. Oh, we're just funding the government so people can go back to work. Funding the government and guaranteeing 8 senators who were complicit in a coup to get a minimum of $1 million each. Does that make sense when nobody can afford anything? Like, that's the reality. That's how corrupt this is. But because MAGA can't read or do math, they're like, yeah, Donald Trump's my friend, and he said he cares about me, and if I give him a Andrew Jackson, he'll make sure groceries are cheaper. It's going so great. It's going so great for you guys, isn't it? Just keep working those risks. Keep those Andrew Jacksons coming. And any second now, life will become more affordable. But what is happening are giant transfers of wealth concentration at the top of the economy. And that's why I started this live by saying, poverty is based on policy. Inequality is based on policy. And if you don't know that, then you need to take a math class. So here is Michelle Fischbach, and this is actually a sign of cowardice, right? The actual leaders of the Republican Party did not want to show their faces while they passed this funding bill. So they always do this. They get a lone idiot woman to sit here and take the heat for this shit. Where's Mike Johnson? Where is Tom? We're not rehiring any federal workers. What Russ Vogt did is law. Where are these people? If you believe so much in this, why don't you show your faces and be the ranking member on the floor before this vote? Because they're cowards.
But I just want to comment on one of the issues, and I find the statement that Republicans were on vacation laughable. The idea that Republicans were on vacation during the shutdown, it's just simply false.
I don't know if I'm ever going to show you all the clips I stayed up 2 nights ago clipping, but when this bill was being debated in the Rules Committee for, all night long, and Democrats could bring amendments. Actually, that might be more interesting than this. I should show you. Every single Democrat that presented an amendment was like, welcome back from your 40-day vacation. You look rested and well. And they became so angry. They were screaming back at them. They're like, I wasn't on a paid vacation. They're like, yes, you were. That's why whenever someone's like, hey, did you have a great vacation? There's an explosive response.
It's false. Many of us were in Washington, or we were in our districts meeting with constituents, advancing local priorities.
Because when I heard this clip, I Googled and checked if she was meeting with her constituents. No, you weren't. Liar.
And staying full. Simply false. It's false. Many of us were in Washington, or we were in our districts meeting with constituents, advancing local priorities, and staying fully engaged with our constituents in our work. Our dedication to serving the American people didn't pause during the shutdown. whether in D.C. or back at home, which for the record, I was in both places and many, many of my Republican colleagues were too. We were doing the work we were elected to do. But I just want to comment on
getting on your knees and doing whatever billionaires ask you to do. Yes, I'm sure you were doing that. So here's the point. This is basically a fight back and forth. So Weirdo says that, and here comes Jim McGovern.
From Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, you got to love these Republicans. The gentlelady from Minnesota says they weren't on vacation. I want to remind her, you haven't voted for 8 weeks. And most people define vacation as you don't have to show up to work and you get paid. That's exactly what Republicans did. They didn't show up to work and they got paid. It was a paid vacation. I now yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman
from
I love Jim McGovern. I love Jim McGovern. Now here comes Austin Scott. He comes from one of the wealthiest districts in Georgia and is awful.
Now, as for the provision that's been mentioned a few times about the Senate language, I have introduced a piece of legislation already to repeal the Senate language, and I'm hopeful that we'll have a vote on that as soon as we get back. Mr. Speaker.
I'll say this, at like 1 a.m, when these debates and angry amendments were being brought to the Rules Committee, there were, in fairness, a lot of Republicans who were like, I'm sorry, what are you saying? The taxpayers have to give 8 senators a minimum of $1 million? Like, and he was one of the people that's like, yeah, I didn't, it's like he showed up and didn't, because they don't read any of this shit, let's be honest. He didn't know, and he's like, yeah, I do not want any people in my district to pay like 8 weirdo senators $1 million. And here's my problem, though. It's like, I'm not sure if these people are mad because that's outrageous or because they don't get $1 million also. That's the only thing. I couldn't tell. Like, it's not that they're like, this is bullshit. These people were complicit in a coup, and now we need to pay them $1 million each because a grand jury, which is made up of rando American citizens, wanted to see who they had been talking to. That's where that subpoena came out of. American citizens sitting on a grand jury saying, we would like to see phone records. These are the same laws that every mother person in the United States are subjected to, and 8 Republican corrupt senators are saying, the laws of America that every single person in this country are subject to, I would like to be above them, and not only be above them, I would like to be paid $1 million because, not because I'm innocent, but because I'm not innocent, and nobody should ever question how shady I am again.
I yield the remainder of my time.
reserve.
Gentlelady from Minnesota continues to reserve her time. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I love these guys. I mean, they're all introducing legislation to repeal provisions in a bill that they're going to vote yes on. I mean,
so true. Don't point out the truth.
On the UC request, the chair will remind the gentleman from Massachusetts and others to please refrain from engaging in personalities toward members of the Senate. Gentleman is recognized.
He said nothing wrong. And when they say engaging in personalities, because that sounds strange, that means Jim McGovern was just like, yeah, that's strange. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he's like, stop shitting on the 8 senators who are asking, who